And welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by our good friends at Madisonville Marine. Highway 411 North in Madisonville, let me tell you, there is no better place to buy a boat. That's their slogan. The reason? They have the biggest selection of boats you're going to find anywhere. And I don't just mean from one or two manufacturers. They have different brands with different models. They have a showroom that is filled with boats. Then they have a long lot outside the actual showroom. Madisonville Marine, if you want a selection, that's where you go. Madisonville Marine and madmarine.com. All right, want to welcome in the next round of panelists we have right here. Team of all former Vols. We got Shazon Bradley. We've got Bobby Scott. We have right there Sterling Hinton. And down there at the far end, way down there away from me, we have David Ligon. But before we get started on this, Shazon, you, of course, the last time you were on the show, you mentioned your high school, McMinn County. I just wanted to present you with a commemorative shirt because for the first time since 1988, my high school, McMinn Central, beat your high school a couple of weeks ago. I figured the next time I may have a chance to do this, we'll both be 70. So let's do it now. There you go.
Thanks.
There you go.
After 26 years,
you gonna take that?
You guys deserve the victory.
Are you gonna take
that? Once every 26 years.
That's every 26 years. The guy didn't even play.
All right, here we go. What about? And I want to thank Jimmy Andrews and Jinx Logos for turning that around so quick for me too. Jinx Logos, they do a great job. As freshmen, as newcomers, what were your feelings your first game day? Did you have the jitters? And how long did it take to get over them? Anybody?
I had played a couple of games, the season before. In 1960, I guess it was 68. I'd played against half against Rice, and I'd played a half against Texas in the Cotton Bowl, which was rough. But you're still going to have the jitters. I mean, I'd played a little bit, but I went out there and, you're a little uptight a little bit. But once you take that first hit, all that goes behind you, and then things are normal.
Mine was my first hit. My first hit, I was nervous running through the tee, knowing I had the responsibility to lead the offense. And but that first hit. That first hit, you get that out the way, get the first yelling on the phone upstairs out the way. Showtime, baby. It's showtime.
Yeah. That's it. And it's like that for every game. You at least it was for me. You're a little nervous. You don't want to mess up. You go out there, first snap, you're good. And then the next series, it's not as bad. Right. But I would always have a little bit of nervousness before every single series, and then first hit it was gone. And it's the way it is. And I would think a lot of people are like that because you want to go out and perform well. You don't want to mess up in front of 100,000 and however many are watching on TV.
You got too many things on your mind once after that first hit.
Survival.
You're thinking all the time, so you don't have time to be too uptight.
And they were pretty smart with me. They ring me with Keith Alone. And he was a veteran. He knew what was going on. He said, first play, we're going to do what? I said, what am I going to do? He said, we're going to hit somebody. And after that, he comes back and taps me on the shoulder, and everything's okay. And I tell you another good thing about it. The crowd is somewhat intimidating also to you your first time out there. It's like, whoa, you got to, we're trying to communicate with one another, and that's a lot of noise.
Running through that tee for the first time, describe that experience for me. The first time you ran through the tee.
Euphoric. Euphoric. Everybody remembers their first time running through that tee for University of Tennessee, Knoxville. What happens to you, you have to come back to game focus.
Right.
Because run those 50 yards into that sidelines, priceless. But you have to come back to game focus afterwards.
It's a high that you will always want to go back and run through the tee again, but it's a place that you will never get back to where you went, the first time you went through.
Let me ask you this one.
I was just going to say real quick. I can remember standing in the tunnel waiting to come out against Alabama, and you look over one shoulder and you got Steve Kiner with tears rolling down his cheeks, and you look over the other shoulder and there's Jack Reynolds clenching his fist. It'll get you ready.
Tennessee last year, the least penalized team in the Southeastern Conference. That's pretty good discipline. And you've seen good discipline from this team off the field as well. But here's my question. All new offensive line, all new defensive line in terms of working together as a starting unit. Should we expect false starts and offsides a few times tonight?
Go on ready and won.
I mean, you would think that the guys have worked at it in practice. They've piped in the crowd noise. The discipline's going to be there. I mean, it's highly likely. A lot of guys making first starts, big time environment, depends just where they are mentally, and if they're in the right state of mind, should continue on with no issues and shouldn't have those.
All right, very good, guys. We'll have all of you back out here a little bit later. Want to talk in the next segment, however, about Tennessee's schedule. It was ranked the second or third toughest in the country going into the season. Now there's 1 week down. You've seen Kentucky looks a little better than probably people thought. Vanderbilt doesn't look anywhere near as good as they were. How has the perception of the schedule changed, and should it? Are we overreacting after one single weekend? We'll discuss on the Sports Source when we come back.